What's up, everyone? Tonight we get the special guest of Ron Couto of Blue Tongue Lizards, and we get the special co-host of Dave Levinson. How are you guys doing?
Doing pretty well. Thanks, Alex, for having me, and thank you, Dave, for being on. Always enjoyed speaking with you guys and spending some time just shooting the shit.
Of course, man. Always enjoyed running into you at Daytona every year. It's sad that that's the only conversation we ever have anymore.
Yeah, I know. I that was something I was thinking about before I came on, man, about how the skink community used to be versus how it is now. It seems like a lot of people have kind of gone their own ways and are just kind of doing their own thing. But we used to be a lot closer years back, you know?
Yeah. When that market really started first redeveloping, man, I think we were all talking to each other, chattering, seeing what we were making, buying a lot. It's kind of settled down. I mean, how about this? I'll give you some calls. We'll talk football this year.
Sounds good, man. I'm I'm a Raider fan, so I'm upset with what the Ravens just did to Max Crosby. So we'll leave that conversation for another day.
Well, no. Let's talk about Max Crosby, buddy. Here's the thing. I don't know if it's necessarily a bad thing because it wasn't like some kind of bad breakup. Even in his press conference when he thought he was leaving, he even said he wanted to retire a Raider. So if nobody goes after him, he doesn't go to Chicago. I'm worried about the Patriots being a Bills fan, to be honest with you. I heard them in the talks, but honestly, like I said, it wasn't like a bad blood thing. Sometimes it's time. Your team looks better now. If he came back, he'd be even better with the moves they've made. They got all their draft picks, so I don't know, man.
Definitely, yeah. At the end of the day, it's going to be a good thing for us. But the draft picks would have been nice. But Max is a one of a kind player, so we're happy to have him back.
Yeah, I thought I heard something. You guys have like 11 draft picks right now, so you'll be okay. All right, so now that we lost our entire audience, we can talk some animals.
So one thing you mentioned, Ron, was community. Why don't you explain how the community used to be and how you feel it is now?
Well, the community for me started back in the forum back in the days. This was like before Facebook. And I got to know a lot of people in the forum, which I'm still friends with today. But from there, it seemed like it went on to the Facebook forums, which were great for a while. I don't really go on the Facebook forums that much anymore. Occasionally, I'll post pictures and stuff like that. But I would say years back, the skink community was very small. Everybody knew each other. Everybody was pretty open about sharing information and, just learning about the animals. I know there was some drama years back. I don't really want to get into that. But since then, it seems like everybody's kind of just doing their own thing. I don't know. It just seems like people aren't communicating that much anymore or sharing. I mean, I guess in some instances we still are because I still talk to a lot of people, but it's a little different from what I've noticed personally. I don't know. What would you say, David?
Well, I honestly think the community is a little bit smaller than it was, in all honesty, than it was like 5 years ago. I think I can think of at least 5 or 6 people you don't see anymore in it, unfortunately. I think some of the louder people in the community now would definitely be Heather and Ron St. Pierre, for good reason, and Alex, of course, at the podcast. And outside of that, Cheryl's still really good at posting. I'm just shitty at posting. So she's doing what she's doing, and I'm trying to think who else. Manny, at least Manny still loves the species and talks about them.
Well, that's who I pretty much talked to the most lately is Manny. I mean, occasionally I'll talk to like Don Patterson via like Messenger and some other guys, but Manny and I are pretty close. I mean, we don't live too far from each other, so I try to see him and talk to him pretty often.
Nice. Don Patterson called me today to ask my advice on the sound of a Western blue tongue coming.
Say that again?
Ejaculate. He wanted to talk about Western blue tongue ejaculate. They called me for my opinion today. 5-minute conversation. That's all it took, man.
Is it different than the other types, or?
No, it's not different. I had him call Johnny. I thought Johnny would be all about it. He knows more about Western cum than I do. I can tell him I know about Northerns, but Westerns really are not my forte.
Well, I mean,
crackling sound. the big finish. He wanted to talk about
Yeah,
that.
it's like a clicking sound. I get that from some of my males. At the end, they're just done. You hear that click, click,
Yeah,
click,
yeah.
click.
I'll have
You
Don
know,
call you too, and you guys can talk about it more.
funny enough, I haven't talked to Don about Westerns in a while, but I had a pair of Westerns here, and I was able to get them to breed, but I never got babies. I just got slugs. And one thing I noticed with the Westerns is that the males, when they're done, they don't let go of the female. They stay holding on to them. So I wasn't really sure what to do at the time because that was a new species for me. And I eventually separated the male from the female, but I wonder if he was holding on to her to breed her again. It's possible. I don't know. Johnny may know. I don't know if he's witnessed them mating, and he can chime in a little better on that. But
I've
that's
heard it
something I
does
noticed when I had
happen.
my. Yeah, the male wouldn't let her go. He would finish, and he would stay holding on to her, and he did it for like 10 minutes until I finally separated him.
I had the male blotch this year. He ended up going in his pants, we'll call it, but he kept holding on till I ended up separating him. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of this, and I've read of it because I guess some of these skinks don't come across another mate in the wild. So some of them may hold on and try to get multiple breedings. And I've never seen it with the northerns before, but it may be possible with some of the other species.
You know, it's kind of old news. I actually, in the conversation I had today, I should got updated pictures, but the mutations that Don produced, really incredible.
Which
man.
one?
Yeah. He got the hypo western and the exanthic
Oh,
or
yeah.
Henry western.
I haven't seen pictures in a while, but they looked incredible when he posted pictures of them as babies.
Yeah. Now that he's broke the ice and gave me a call, I'm gonna have to squeeze some new pictures out and see if those guys are looking like.
It's nice, man. Westerns are awesome. I really enjoyed working with Westerns. I eventually moved on from my pair because I never got babies from them. But they're a species that I'd love to work with again one day in the future.
How many years did you try?
I tried for like 3 seasons, I believe, if I remember correctly. So the interesting story. I don't know if I ever told you guys this, but I originally got two adult. I got an adult pair, and I lost a male during brumation. So I ended up having to get another male, and the male that I got was a little younger. He was able to breed my female, but I just never got babies. I just got slugs. So I was cooling them just like I do my northerns, which isn't very cold, especially here in Miami. So maybe that had something to do with it. So I sent those animals to California, and I don't know what happened to them. I never got an update since I moved on from them.
Interesting. How many litters of westerns do you guys think are produced in the United States every year?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I think right now there may be just like a 2 or 3 people breeding them in the country from what I'm aware of. So I don't think, maybe 1 litter, 2 at most, I would say.
Wow.
As far as I'm aware. Yeah.
I think John had 1 or 2 last year.
Okay.
And we're not counting Don in this, right? Don's in Canada.
No, Canada doesn't count anymore. Now that we can't share goods anymore, there's no reason to count it.
Yeah, that sucks, man. Is that ever going to change?
I just don't know why it would. And also, you know, the question of where that really came from, like, why did they start enforcing it? Why did that become a rule? I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon unless we consume Canada as our 51st state.
I recently contacted them.
And what'd they say, Alex?
They haven't got back to me, but I propositioned an idea for them to put money towards conservation, that basically $5 of every animal would be like a flat fee to export them, and they would get that for conservation. I contacted the department that runs the whole organization, but I doubt I'll get a response.
You think the $150 was not tempting enough for him?
Well, it's $5 each animal. That's a couple thousand each year between every breeder.
Now you're talking just Australian species, right?
Yeah.
You think there's
So
2,000 Australian species being exchanged back and forth through Canada?
Well,
no.
I guess I'm talking they would open it up where we'd be able to export all of them out of the U.S. So between all the lockdown, some of the bigger breeders were producing 500 blue tongues.
Okay.
Something needs to change. I mean, I think it's ridiculous. But as far as I understand, they only have an issue with Australian species, correct?
Yeah, ball pythons, boas, a lot of other stuff is still going back and forth. It was just simply focusing on the Australian stuff. I don't know if bearded dragons were affected. I don't know if carpet pythons were affected.
So I have a question for you guys. With a lot of the morphs we have now being hybrids, how is that going to be handled in the future as far as trying to ship them out of the country? Are they going to be considered Australian species, or if they're a hybrid now, is it going to be okay to transport to ship?
Some inspectors consider any Australian blood that they wouldn't be good, but there's a gray area which ones you ask.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Well, we'll see what happens with that, but that's something I always think about. I always thought about.
Well, so when you're talking hybrids, though, I mean, well, I guess everything's gonna be kind of hybrid now. The albino's going into the northern, so you're talking about the eastern, western there, but that's still Australian blood on both sides. Other than
Yeah,
the
no, but
bubble gum, there's the bubble gum and the patternless. Everything else is pretty much Australian to Australian morph.
I see. I see. No, I mean, but yeah, I think there's some that's Indonesian, right, or Irian. Like I
Bubble
think the
gum
bubble
for
gums, right,
sure.
and the patternless one
Yeah,
as
and
well,
then
right?
the patternless was always a northern IJ cross.
Yeah.
And then there's an anery floating around that's a northern IJ cross that's been in the country for about 10 years.
But that may be the ticket. That may be the way to be able to ship. You know.
Yeah, that's a big Heather and Ron question. I know
Yeah.
that's something they've talked about. I think I've talked at Snakes at Sunset about that a couple times. But again, other than it seems like there's a real want in the Chinese market for these animals, especially these mutations. So being able to export to them would be big for the United States right now. But Canada's Canada at this point. I mean, I can't even really think of skink buyers in Canada. And Canada was just kind of used as like a stop along the way from these animals coming in from the European and Asian market before coming to the United States a lot of times. So, like I said, I don't think anything's going to change anytime soon. Any of that.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
But well, you want to change gears? We were talking a little bit about the season. You said you might not be breeding your skinks this year.
Yeah, I haven't bred anything yet. I mean, the only thing that I know bred are my easterns that I have outside, and that's because I saw the female. She's full of marks. So I'll probably be getting baby easterns again. I've been getting baby easterns for like 3 or 4 years now. But all the stuff I have inside, I haven't started breeding. I didn't even really cool a lot of I didn't cool anything down this year. So I see some males out and about looking like they're looking for females, and I've tried putting a couple males with some females, and they haven't bred. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna breed this year at all. I may just take the break, man. I'm really busy. I got a lot going on with the family and work. My kids are older now. My son's playing football. My daughter's playing volleyball. So I'm spending a lot of time taking them to practices, and I'm really involved with them and their sports. So I may take a year just to relax a little bit. I mean, I'll still breed some animals. I'm going to breed the snakes and stuff like that, but I may give the skinks a break this year.
Fair.
Do you think you'll cut back?
No, I mean, I still have all my animals here. I don't think I'm going to cut back at all. I've never had a big collection as it is. I only have about 30 something adults. So I don't have a big collection. I never had a big collection. I'm probably just gonna take a year off and save myself the hustle and bustle of baby season, as you guys know.
Get that. What So, how many times did you have one of those white Easterns pop up? Was it just that one time early on, or did you have another one of those?
That one time early on, that animal died, and then I got two more like 2 years ago. Those animals are like 2 or 3 years old. I still have them here. Those didn't die. They did darken up a bit, as you know, with these Easterns, they darken up over time. They keep getting darker and darker from when they're born to when they're adults. So they're considerably darker than when they were as babies, but they're still oddballs. They still don't look the same as the adults. I haven't bred them. I don't even know if I'm gonna breed them. They do look a little bit off as far as like being like they're not like 100%. They're almost like a special needs animal, if you know what I mean. So I don't know if they'll breed.
You talking movement or body structure?
No, like body structure. Their eyes are a little bit bulged out. They look a little thinner than what a normal healthy Eastern would look like. I haven't
like
tried
Dave?
breeding them. I don't even know if they're males or females. I haven't been able to sex them. But I haven't put them together. I haven't seen if they're even interested in breeding. So it's just something that I have there that I take care of, and I haven't done anything with, to be honest with you.
That's fair. Is the drive so the drive is mainly because it might be something that is a weaker animal and it just might not be worth reproducing?
I don't know. That's something in the back of my head tells me yes to that question, and I think that's why I lost that animal, many years back. But these survived. These are doing well. They just look a little bit different than what a normal healthy animal looks like. If I can,
they're not pretty inbred, right?
I'll try to get pictures for you guys and post them tomorrow, so you guys can see what they look like. No, they're not inbred. These animals, I mean, the grandparents of these animals are not related at all. I got these animals from Mark Webb in the UK, and the female came in aluminum piping from Australia into the UK, and that's how you got a hold of this animal. So it's unrelated to the male that he sourced out of Russia. So they're nowhere near inbred. That has nothing to do with it. It must be something with the genes.
Interesting.
Or whatever that mutation is, or whatever's going on with that animal. It's just a weakling. And I mean, I've bred them many, many years, and I've only gotten babies that 1 year, and then 2 or 3 years ago. All the other years, I haven't gotten babies, so I don't know.
This one's more of a guess, but do you think if you crossed it to Northern, it would help?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know if it even is something. I don't know. I mean, it clearly looks completely different than a regular animal. When it was a baby, these things are green, like fluorescent green almost. I haven't tried. Maybe it's something I'll try. Maybe it's something I'll give to Manny. I've given a couple animals to Manny lately, so he can try. I had a het hypermelanistic here. I had two, and one of them died with the recurrent eye issues that they have. The other one I just recently gave to Manny to see if he has some luck breeding it. He's gonna keep it outdoor in one of his outdoor pens. But I just haven't done anything with it. I haven't tried.
Yeah, I got a couple animals over at Manny's too. I sent them my patternless female last year, my albino female.
Nice.
The albino female always wanted to cycle at a different time than my northerns, and the plan was always to put some of the Jeff Green red stuff on it. Again, hybridizing that project was the only way to truly be successful and make healthy animals. So, there's an acceptance there on that. But yeah, like I said, whenever she came out, she just had this like squirrely look in her eye. And she did that like slow rotation to look over her shoulder for the male, and the male would piss themselves, try jumping out of the container. Never worked out, but hopefully Manny has success with that this year.
Well, that's the same thing that happened to me with my hyper male. It's a male, and he would start breeding, and halfway he would just stop and run away. He would get going, but he wouldn't finish. He'd stop. So I don't know. I got frustrated with those animals. I lost one. Actually lost two. I lost one at first, and then I got a replacement, and then I lost this other one. So I don't know.
The one you lost at first, what happened? Just arrived weak?
Yeah, I got two. They were like juveniles at the time, and this animal, since I got it, it wouldn't eat at all. It wouldn't eat at all. It wouldn't eat at all. And I told the person I got it from, there's something wrong with this animal. It's gonna die. And he took it back and he swapped it out for me. And he took it to the vet, and it had a tumor in its esophagus. I have pictures in my phone from back then, and that's why it died. It had like some cancer that it passed from.
Okay.
Oh, and something like that, there's nothing you could do.
Yeah.
I'm thinking back like 10 years back in the hobby, even like 15, Ben Siegel got those albinos in a decade, 2 decades ago. Nothing ever came out of them. Fenn had his white line last decade. Nothing has come out of it. I told you that one guy made aneries in the St. Louis area. It's been a decade, hasn't made another. Like outside of what Heather's done, like the hobby has really failed at like managing a mutation all the way through when it came to blue tongue skink.
Yeah, no, Heather and Ron have done a great job. And I hope, I don't know if they have hypermels or hets or whatnot, but I mean, those are my favorites. I hope we can really start producing those because in my opinion, they're awesome. The only thing that concerns me is the health issues with them, but I think if they cross them out to northerns, that may help fix that problem. But even in Australia, you don't see many people posting pictures of litters of all hypermel babies. It seems interesting to me that I don't really see a lot of them being produced even in Australia. You guys notice that?
Well, it took a lot of outcrossing, I know, and them combining the northerns.
Yeah.
Is my mic echoing at all?
A little bit. Pausing a little bit, Alex.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Yeah, no, even there was some Mels in the country over the years.
I lost you, David.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yep.
Okay.
Can you just not see us?
Is he frozen?
I can't hear you guys if you guys can hear me.
Okay, you fucked it up.
Maybe leave and rejoin on that link. Can you hear me, Dave?
You sound great, Alex. Very clear.
Well, so I'll ask you this question while we're waiting on Ron. Do you think we should start limiting the number of pairings we do and maybe increasing our overall breeding standards? Not saying they're bad, just.
Honestly, that was kind of a loaded question, man, because, somewhere in there you said, standards being a little higher. I honestly think the industry is probably producing a good amount right now and can accept a little more. Sold out for the season. I'm sold out. I think Manny is more than likely sold out. Most people that had stock, those animals are gone, and there's no new babies on the ground yet. So I think the hobby can actually handle a little more.
No, yeah, not number.
Oh.
Like more so like when you mentioned the other day, like you only maybe will do 3 locks for each female. Just because it's too much beating up on the girls.
Yeah. That's what we're talking about, locks?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm 2 and never anymore, man. Like I said, 3, I think the girls look beat the fuck. And like I said, that was the one thing I hated about the skink groups back in the day is looking at people posting their like 4th or 5th lock and the female is just completely broken up on the shoulders. Like I said, if 2 doesn't get it done, I'm just going to miss that year.
I try to get 2 to 3 locks, but within a span of about 10 days instead of back to back to back. And that's pretty much that's work. I've had success with that. And then I mean, I'm talking good locks where I'm watching and I'm making sure he's not missing or not getting it done. If you guys know what I mean.
Yep.
Yeah. I will space out the first and last lock anywhere from like 10 to 15 days, even if I was going to do 2 or 3. The reason I kind of dialed back this year was, I talked about it in the middle of breeding season when we were down here, but my Turner white female, by that third lock, you could just see all the damage, everything from the breeding season on her. You know, it didn't hide anything that happened like maybe some of the other ones do. And looking at her made me not want to go 3 times with everybody else. That was more or less the reason why I did it.
I'll tell you what, from looking at my Easterns outside this year and in years past, the males are breeding. The male that's in there with them, because I keep one male with 2 females, I have to separate one of the females because they end up fighting, but he breeds them multiple times just looking at the scarring that they have. I could tell it's not 1 or 2 times. He's bred them many times from how beat up they are.
Do we have any idea what a blue tongue skinks range is in the wild during breeding season and how many different how many females they can handle a year?
Not sure. I'm not sure about that. But another thing I do with the males is I try not to breed my male every day, especially if I'm trying to swap them out with other females. I give them like a day or 2 of rest in between before giving them another female. I don't know. Maybe I don't know how quickly they can produce sperm, so I want to make sure they have enough sperm when I'm putting them in a new female.
So pretty much the same as you. I never go back to back with males. Sometimes I might even give them a couple days off in between. Better off, like you said. But, you know, I remember, again, Ray back in the day talking about he can get a male to breed 2 females in one day or the same female twice in a day. And, you know, to this day, no one's ever produced more in a season than that guy. So
Yeah.
maybe handle a little more than we think, but I do like spacing it out.
In years past, I have gotten a male to breed a female 2 times. When years back, if you give them like 4 or 5 hours in between, they can do it again.
Okay, interesting.
See, we've done that once and never had success. But we've done like a male Monday on one female and Tuesday on a different female in each day, and they seem pretty good, but I guess I don't know the true amount of sperm load they have each batch, but we got babies at least.
Nice. Yeah, see, we're talking about males. Everybody that's new into skinks, they want to get 4 or 5 females and 1 male, and they think that male can breed them all in 1 year. And they don't know how important it is to have lots of males, because some males may not want to go, and you need to have a backup. So it's really wise to have a nice group of males that are good breeders. Because some males aren't good breeders.
I've had very below average seasons back to back years because I keep on trying to stretch one male too far because I just have not had enough males for the last few years. This year I went into it where I was doing 1.2 or 1.3 for the whole season. If a male turned off, I had a backup male kind of thing. So yeah, it's definitely a species. I think you should really have like 1.2 realistically. 1.3 is probably about as far as you're going to go. Not to say you couldn't go further, but it's the sweet spot in my opinion.
Yeah, you definitely need a lot of males if you want to breed. Having them outside is so much nicer because you leave them there, you don't have to worry about it. You know, whether you get babies or not, they kind of do their own thing, which is nice.
So I got a question that some people might not like. If the females are getting that beat up, should it be a bigger enclosure?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I keep mine outside in 6 by 2.5 by 3. And right now I just have a pair in there because, like I said, when I put that other female in there, I don't know if the 2 females are fighting. But there's 1 female that I would take out as soon as like the breeding season would pass, and I would keep her inside in a rack. I honestly think the females didn't get along because I don't have an issue with just the pair out there the rest of the year.
If someone was going to try to say a pair and trio inside, what would you say? Do the 6 by 3 or go bigger?
No, bigger's always better. Yeah, bigger's always better, definitely. I wouldn't recommend anybody keeping anything in groups like that unless if they have a big enclosure and they know what they're doing.
Good. You know, part of the reason I asked, I was just out of curiosity, I measured the area behind me, and we could do basically 9 7x3s relatively easy. So like
Say
9
that.
trios.
7x3s.
Yeah.
That should work. I mean, you have northerns. Northerns are a different animal compared to easterns. But you may want to talk to Heather or Manny. I know they're keeping northerns outside. I don't keep any of my northerns outside. I just keep easterns.
Well, I know Manny does the same 6x3s. But I wouldn't know if it'd be a different thing indoors. You might have to worry about the amount of biomass. Indoors you got to worry about them pooping, whereas outside you got insects to help clean it up.
Yeah. I mean, you should be all right as long as you keep an eye on them. And as soon as you see any odd behavior, I'd be quick to separate them. But the 7x3, you got to take advantage of the height as well. Try to make some hides or structure where they can. It's not just floor space. You take advantage of the height in the enclosure as well to give them more spaces to hide and get away from each other.
Do you think it'd be better to do a full 2 feet then, or you think you get away with 20 inches?
Height wise,
Yeah.
I probably do a full 2 feet.
Okay.
I think that's better.
I'm always thinking different ideas. Whatever we end up doing is a different story, but
Yeah.
So with the outdoor enclosures, are you doing anything for like tunneling or anything like that, or is everything always above ground?
Everything's above ground, and we had a couple of really cold nights here in Miami. We had 2 periods of where it dropped into the low 40s, even high 30s, and I usually put like basking bulbs inside the enclosures, and I cover them with tarps, and my animals did great. They were fine. I even had a diamond python outside that did great. So
Interesting. Yeah.
the diamond python could probably even go a little colder than your easterns, right?
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, they're found in the same area down south, right in Victoria. So I wouldn't be surprised if it can handle colder temperatures. But the easterns can handle it. The easterns can handle really cold temperatures.
I've heard that.
So even though you didn't breed any, if you were gonna, what would be your approach? More like boutique, or try to
No,
see?
I did think about breeding, and I may still try to see if I can get some locks from my ivories. I have about 11 head ivories here that I just held back from 2 years ago. Some of them are big enough to breed. Some of them aren't quite as big yet. But I may try to see if my male and my female can get bred to the heads. They haven't shown any interest yet, so I don't know if it'll happen. But if I did breed, that's probably the only, as far as northerns go, that I'd be looking into breeding.
Yeah, you had those one animals at Daytona. I think it was probably like, because you weren't at last Daytona, so it was either the one before that or the one previous. The ones that had that like frosted tone on the back. You had them on the top
Yeah.
shelf. I want to say like $400 each, maybe.
Yeah.
Those were ones that I was actually really bummed out in that moment. I didn't grab, and I don't know why I was being stubborn. But I think you put an updated picture up like a year later, and like
It was
that,
amazing.
I like that line,
Yeah, that animal turned out amazing, man. I still have one here from that year, from that litter that I held back. I sold I sold all the others to people that reached out to me after for them. But those animals pop out from my northerns every year. I call them white stripes. They have like white stripes running down their back. And Manny's producing those as well out of his stock. I mean, a lot of Manny's stock, most of it, or not most of it, but a lot of it came from me. So I don't know if it's something from the Sunrise or the Swedish line that's causing those babies to pop up like that. But the babies look interesting, but the adults look gorgeous. They get a lot of white fleckling down their back, and it almost looks like white stripes going down their back.
So with your stuff, it's definitely more defined. I do remember back in the day buying some red stuff from Jeff Green, and every once in a while he'd get those ones that I think he would label frosted or frost. And that kind of had a lot of white tones trying to come through. But again, yours just popped a lot more. There was more of it. I always talk about it, comparing these guys to crested geckos, but like, that's a lineage I would want to try to keep in line breed, to have ones that just look like that every single year. Like I said, I think the biggest bummer about the community not dealing with each other as much anymore is animals aren't going back and forth as much as they used to. So we're not seeing a lot of good, unique directions that should be pursued.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I
If
agree.
you ever come off that animal, let me know.
I haven't been able to breed it. It's a female, the one that I kept. I mean, she's bred, but she hasn't given me babies. So I don't know. Again, I don't think I'm going to breed her this year, but maybe next year.
Yeah.
But every season I get babies like that.
All right. Well, next time I won't be stubborn about it. When you do get back to it and you make another one, just let me know. I want something nice. Probably a couple of them.
All right, sounds good. Cheryl hasn't produced any animals like that, David?
You know what? I don't get to see everyone she produces every year. Only what she's posting. When we go over there to hang out, we just don't really go through the animals like we used to. But I'll have to ask her if she's done anything like that, because she's done a lot of really, really cool stuff. I've got some litters coming this year from some lineage I got from her. I'll show you if I have success, but a lot of like Turner white to like sunset to red stuff that then she like kind of paled out a little bit more and made kind of peachy, that I kind of put back to some of the older stock this year. So that's probably like the most exciting thing. But high white flaking, one male from Jeff Green I have from a really nice red is the only thing I have that looks like that, but not as nice as yours.
Give me a second. Let me see if I can pull that animal out so I can bring it so you guys can see it.
I want to say part of Manny's is from Ron, because like Manny's is like a lot of Homer line, and I think that's from his Sunrise stuff.
Okay. Yeah. There was a couple animals. Even Manny had an animal on his table this past year, and I want to say it was again some Swedish line stuff, and I don't know if it was Swedish to the red, but it had some really nice dark bars on it. The orange was a really like cool burnt orange. It was already sold when I saw it, but that was another one. I think he sent me some updated pictures from other babies in that litter. That would probably be something else I go after this year, just to kind of change things up a little bit. I don't know if we lost them.
Yeah, we must have. I'll add him when he comes back. What else? Is there anything else you're looking forward to add this year? Some random red stuff or yellow?
You know what? Probably if I could find some nice yellow. Where I did have some yellow stuff I was raising up this year, they just weren't quite ready to breed yet. The male showed interest, but just couldn't get the job done. So next year I should have some really sharp looking yellow stuff, but I don't know. I'm real selective now. It's got to be something special.
So it looks like she's in shed. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
But you can kind of see.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's got a lot of white.
I can't guarantee it, but I could probably go on my phone and find a picture from the show, because I know I took a picture of one of those babies. I'd like to think I still have that in my phone.
So yeah, she's kind of milked out right now because she's gonna shed, but she's a gorgeous animal. And they're just like streaks running down her back. It's almost like a big white highway kind of running down her back.
Yeah, no. I think that was one of the things I thought was kind of disappointing about that show was those are my favorite animals. And I want to say you had like 3 on the top shelf, $400, which didn't seem unreasonable. And I want to say on Sunday when the show was over, he still had all 3. And that blew my mind. Because any other Daytona, any other year before that, any quality skink would fly off the table, and it just hit a wall in the last year or 2.
You guys want to see the oddball Eastern? Look at them here. You see the sides?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's completely different. And then if you look at his head, or her head, I don't know if it's a male or a female.
Yeah. Interesting. It's crazy how much
But it's
pigment that gets after starting out so white.
oh, you see how much? Yeah, it's darkened up a lot. I mean, it's still not as nowhere near as dark as the other ones, but it's darkened up a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome. But it is wild, that color change.
Do you think it would be worthwhile doing a free Discord?
Oh, are you talking about starting for the community to get chatting again?
Yeah.
I don't see any reason not to. I mean, it wouldn't hurt the community. I need to start talking in the background, getting a few people together, but I don't know. There's really only a few people I talk to right now.
Well, and there's, I think over time with more people getting in and more stuff produced, that will help too.
Like I said, I think, and I'm going to try to get better about it this year, but, showing color development in projects, kind of talking more about the species, giving people a better understanding, making them like them more. It's going to take some social media stuff and some good videos. I always say Tiki is probably our best bet outside of Emily.
Well,
Yeah.
I missed out.
Oh,
What were you guys talking about?
Well, just bringing a little life back into the community. Getting some new people coming in wanting to breed, exposing people to the species. Like, what is it going to take?
I think that'll be a great idea. It's going to take people that have a big audience to start promoting the animals a little bit more, I think. I heard you say Manny and Tiki. They're good. I don't know who else has a big platform that can show off what amazing animals skinks are, But I'm surprised that they don't get as much recognition as I think they deserve. In my opinion, they're the best pet reptile you can have. At least best pet lizard by far.
No, 100%.
I think you guys would agree with me, but.
Oh yeah,
come up. Not to interrupt, but I found a picture of that one you showed me when I was younger. I might have to send it to Alex. Looks like shit with that reflection, but I'll send it to Alex. But yeah, no, definitely one of the cooler animals, man. And you had some that had some even deeper oranges. That white speckling is just really unique.
It's funny over the years, David. I seem to always sell my nicest animals, and for some reason, I never hold them back. I always tell myself. I was telling Manny the other day. I feel like I can always make more. So I just sell them and try to make the profit when I can.
I used to hold back a lot. The last 4 years, only a couple animals, but this year I made myself put 7 to the side. Mostly for the darker line stuff. Like you said, I really love some of those dark black animals that Diana used to make back in the day, and I kind of want to get back to seeing one of those. I definitely took some steps forward this year, so that was my big holdback this year to start making the darker animals again.
Is Frank Payne still making those animals or not really?
No, not really. Right?
Yeah, it sounded like he had one or two, but nothing focused on it.
Yeah. I think we had him on last week. I think his comment was he felt like he line bred them as far as you could before you had to start outbreeding them. He's just kind of gone a different way. He's still doing blue tongues, just not as many as he used to.
It's going to sound biased because I breed a lot of Easterns, but in my opinion, Easterns are amazing. And you can get an animal that's just as dark, and not even darker than those Northerns. And I guess right now we don't have to worry about the inbreeding or from the line breeding. But I think Easterns should get more recognition out in the community. It seems like a lot of it goes to Northerns right now, but Easterns are amazing animals, in my opinion.
I think the Northerns have a ton of variety, which helps.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we did have some success with Easterns, and I still think share success. I was a little more hands off when we were messing with them, but we first few years were not easy with them. It might have been when the Victorian stuff came in. We had a little more luck, but before that, we didn't have a lot of luck.
Yeah, I mean, I've had luck for a while now, and it seems like I get babies every year. Um, I have animals from 4 different lines. So I have a nice variety of them to keep the the animals, the genes fresh for a while. But yeah, no, I've been doing well with them. I've been doing really well with them. I actually have a bunch of babies here that I haven't listed, but I got to post them up to sell. I don't. I'm used to the days of old when I used to get David Levinson and Cheryl coming to my house to get animals. Now I gotta work too hard to sell stuff, man. I don't like advertising. I don't like posting stuff. It's just too much work for me.
No, I mean, I think Stacy used to have a waiting list on her Northerns back in the day. Like it was a little bit different back then. And you're right.
You know what, David?
We spent a lot of money.
It's gonna sound funny when I say this, but a little bit of Ray is rubbing off on me, man.
Yeah, I get it, man. Yeah.
Getting old away from technology.
No, not that much, but Ray wouldn't just he wouldn't post things. He wouldn't, he would just, I don't know.
I don't think I've actually done a skink post in probably about 5 or 6 years. I can almost guarantee it. As sad as that is, I have plenty of pictures, nice stuff. I'll send you a million pictures when we're done here. And I have not posted a blue tongue in forever.
Yeah. But I mean, I've been working with some other animals that I like working with, or that I've gotten I've always wanted to have, and I've never been able to get them. But lately I've gotten a nice little group of diamond pythons, and I really enjoy working with them. I want to make some cages outside and keep them outdoors year round. So that's something that I want to do in the near future.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to necessarily change the size of the skinks anytime in the near future. I'm happy with the amount of space they're taking up, but we're starting to do better with Australian pythons, simple things like we started doing children's this year. Got a couple clutches, got another one coming. We're like 3 clutches into Woomas. We got 4 more to go. Like, I'm really liking just doing different stuff nowadays. Even colubrids. We've been going after a lot of colubrids.
Nice.
I like the skinks. I'm going to keep doing the skinks, but I don't know if I necessarily have to do as many as I have. I could probably drop like 20 and be okay, and just get 20 more Australian python.
I just wanted to.
How's it going for you? How's the market been for you? I know you produce some amazing animals. It's
been good. Last year we had significantly less. Of what we produced, we kept a third of it. So, we've kind of always been our best customer, which helps going forward.
How are you doing with space? You're not running out of room?
We're getting there. That's kind of one of the issues is, what do we want to do if we add on? Would it be worth, keeping some like we have them here and then maybe doing some, experimenting in like the 7x3s? But on a, positive note, like where we're at, it's any day for babies.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I guess some of life and everything, what we get out of it, we're gonna put back into it. So end up doing good, that might help.
Nice. One thing that I used to produce more of in years past that lately I haven't gotten any babies. Hopefully this year it changes. Is pink tongues. I haven't had a litter in a few years now. And I'm down to like only one pair, but hopefully they go for me this year and I get some babies.
Yeah.
Did you just have some pass or move some out?
I moved some out and I had some pass. Yeah. But I never,
Did those,
again, I never had a big collection of them. I only had at one point it was I think 3 breeding pairs. I never had a big group of them.
so I don't know why, and it could be from what you're saying, but you just don't see pink tongues that much anymore. Like
I know.
they've never really been steady anywhere.
I know. I was talking about that with Manny the other day, and he told me he's had the same. He hasn't produced any in a few years now. So the only one that was having pretty much consistent luck was Stacy, and I don't know if she produced any last year. I'm not sure.
I think she did. I tried getting her on the podcast, and I know they're busier with other stuff now.
Okay. Other stuff like other animals or something completely different?
A different, I don't know if it's a family business, like a brewery.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we should have
So,
her on, and we can. She can send us samples of the beers. We could
oh,
talk
that
reptiles and drink beers.
that might be the only way you can get her to get on is if you get her loose, because like otherwise, it seems some people are scared to be in public.
And that way she can promote her business, man. We get to, talk about the beer, sample it, and talk reptiles.
I'd be into that.
Try talking her into it.
No,
I'll send her a message and see.
my buddy up in Buffalo did a lot of ractodactyla stuff, but he had, I don't know if it was a trio, but he always had pink tongues, and he was getting babies year after year. And then, like, I think one year he just decided to sell the adults, like he was just done. So yeah, like I said, every pink tongue story does not have a happy ending.
I still have the Cunninghams, even though last year I lost. So I originally imported two pairs of Cunninghams from Germany, and my original female, because the other two turned out to be males, and I had to get another female years later. My original female, shit. Oh, okay, sorry. Am I still there?
Yep.
I'm still on?
Yep.
Okay,
You're
yeah,
good.
my original female died last year after giving birth. So I don't know if she had a baby that was lodged in her after and she couldn't pass it, but she passed on me. So I have one breeding, another pair that gives me babies every year, and alone the original male in another enclosure. But I held back 2 babies. Actually, I have 3 babies from last year here. One I kept with the parents, and the other 2 I separated. But eventually I may, hopefully, I think they're females, put them with the original male. So, but I'm still going well with the Cunninghams. I like Cunningham skinks a lot. I've enjoyed working with them for the past, I don't know how many years I've been breeding them now, but they're really interesting animals.
That's cool.
Well, and you don't see a lot of those, so it should, when they're available, they probably go good.
Oh, I don't even, for the past, I don't know how many years, I sell all my babies without even having to post them. There's somebody that's bought them every single year from me. So it seems like their demand is still there for Cunninghams.
Again,
You don't work with the Epsisolis, do you?
No, I don't. I have Hosmers here. I have 2 females that killed a male I tried to introduce to them about 2 years ago. And I just got another male that hopefully I can be more successful pairing or introducing them to the females this time. But it's a little tricky. It's tricky in getting them to accept each other. The best time to do it is now during breeding season. But it's a little tricky.
You don't keep those outside, do you?
Yeah, I do. I keep my Cunninghams and I keep the Hosmers outside. I've had the success I've had with my Cunninghams all these years. They've always been outside. I keep them outside, and they do their thing. I just feed them and make sure they have water and they have babies.
Yeah.
What's the earliest you think they could reproduce?
The babies usually drop around March, April, May, around that time. Similar with the blue tongues, they give live birth also. They don't lay eggs. So they're very similar to blue tongues, except they're a little faster.
So like looking in the future, are you hoping to expand as the kids get older, once they're maybe moved out?
No, I don't think so. If anything, I'm gonna scale down more. I think I'm gonna probably just keep, a few breeding pairs of the things I really enjoy working with, like the skinks. But I feel a little overwhelmed with the kids and the sports and work. My work schedule changed now. I'm working nights. I wasn't able to go to Daytona last year. This year, I don't think I'm going to be able to do Daytona either because I'm scheduled to work that night. I feel a little overwhelmed with the animals right now. So I may scale back a little bit. Um, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, you never really know.
I always tell people the animals are always going to be here. I'm sure if you get the itch in the future to go back to where you want to be, you can get there real easily.
Oh, definitely. At least I know the people to go to, right?
Manny.
None of your kids have interest?
No, not really. My kids grew up with animals their whole lives. It's funny enough, my wife was terrified of animals when I met her. I don't know if I told this story the last time, but since my kids were born, they've grown up around reptiles, and to them, it's just like an everyday thing. It's like having a dog or a cat at home. It's nothing big to them. So
yeah, every breeder says that, man. Like I've had so many of these conversations, and you remember me as a kid, like just so obsessed. Like if my father did this, I would have had an even better childhood.
yeah.
But yeah, it seems like a lot of kids just get burnt out at a young age.
Yeah, mine aren't as obsessed as I was when I was a little kid with reptiles. I mean, they like them, they think they're cool, but they don't necessarily want to clean cages and clean water bowls and put the work in. You get what I mean?
That's all it
Oh,
is.
and some of that's as time age and
Maybe.
what about now? This one's kind of like planning for breeding. What about correlations to try to like say if you want to produce 50 babies, how many females would you breed?
Who, me?
Both of you, like 50 northerns.
I mean, it depends if you get lucky or not. You can produce 50 northerns from 5 females, or 4 even, or you can produce 10. So it just depends if you get lucky or not.
I'd say 8 females safely, with the assumption 70% success rate, 60%. I don't know. Like I said, I know there are people that have about a 80% success rate. What's been yours on average, Alex? You pay attention to these numbers.
So last year was like 35.
Okay, you're the wrong guy.
35%?
Yeah.
Damn.
And previous years were like 55 to 60.
That's
So
breeding younger animals. Is that the issue?
what's that?
Is that because of breeding younger animals? Maybe they're just not as into it, ready?
Definitely could be some, some were, at a year of age. So, some females might not be ready. Whereas, others I have are stubborn that we keep trying.
Yeah. David, I don't know if it was you that mentioned this or I heard it in another podcast years back. Somebody that had a very large group of skinks, and they noticed that the success rate of babies dropped drastically, and they were talking about it maybe having a correlation to the size of their of the colony or the group overall. Was that you, or was it you guys recall anything like that?
Yeah, that's been talked on and off.
Yeah, no, we talked about it. Yeah, because I felt like I was producing more blue tongues when I had like 27 than when I had 100. Like it's just the growth. I don't know if it has something to do with growth rate. there was just a lot going on. I don't know, man, but I just felt like the bigger the collection, the worse it got. I felt like males were like turned off. We started talking about having maybe too many males in an environment. Maybe if one male's like really dominant, made other ones submissive. I think we were trying to rule everything out, but
Do you think
we'll
that
see how
it's
this year
since?
goes.
Do you think since the group is so large? I mean, one thing you need to breed skinks, I'm sure you guys will agree with me, is time and patience. And having such a large group, you kind of just can't find the time to find the right, the male that's on, the females when they're in their window, because you just have so many animals that you kind of lose track of everything. You get what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And again, we've had this conversation, but the way I bred skinks 13 years ago is not the way I breed skinks today. Like I said, everything back then I felt was a little more forceful in the teaching. Tape the female's mouth shut or baby sock on a female's head just so she couldn't fight back. But the reality was she wasn't in her window. We were forcing it on her. Now, Cheryl does it best, but like she'll go through and, check body language, pinch the side of the animal, see how submissive it feels in that moment. And she can judge the female's window based on that. So, getting bigger and then going based on the old way of doing it was probably the issue. Set date on when we would want to start every year, less paying attention to the animals. Now paying attention to the animals more, body language, all that good stuff. I think success rate goes up when you know how to do this properly. And I do think you can manage a larger collection. Bill Brandt would have been the only other guy you would have had a conversation with about that back in the day, because he was another guy that expanded very fast, like overnight, got by the hundreds. And he tried ultrasounding, and he was pretty confident in the ultrasounding. He just didn't get the outcomes he thought. I think ovulations were maybe false ovulations on the ultrasound.
That's
I've never
what
made an ultrasound on a skink yet.
I was gonna say. How much success did he have? Did he produce a lot of babies? Because I don't think he did, right?
Never had the successful year he thought he was going to. And I think that was kind of like a practice round to see whether or not the animals could go to like gourmet rodent, because there was also talk back then of whether or not he could cycle them at different times of the year, like he did with his colubrid colonies. And, I would be curious, there's hognose breeders in the United States that are wheeling their hognose into the refrigerator at a certain time of the year, taking them out and putting another rack in afterwards. If you cycle babies, like, I wonder if you could change the window.
I think yes.
Yeah. I think it'll take some work, but I think we can get there. If we need to. I don't think we need to.
I've noticed some males will get in the mood once our mini split kicks on. It's not, it's only a small percentage, but that shift to the cold temperature, swings do affect them.
I'm sure.
I haven't tried breeding them in the summer because I figured females wouldn't be receptive.
Yeah. I have a female here. She's my nicest red animal. That the only males that have ever been able to breed her have risked losing their lives. So they've definitely had to work for it. She tries to kill every male.
So that might just be not finding the window, man. I've got this one female. She's the biggest beast in the collection. She was like a Craigslist buy, and you bought her, and she was like twice the size of any blue tongue you've ever seen. And any male you put in on her, first, it's a big job, and she's very scary. This year, I did finally find a window to put a male in where she didn't fight back. So I think, honestly, it's probably just finding a small window where she is receptive.
It could be, but I mean, they have different personalities. I've noticed over the years, some females just they don't want anything around them, and the males that show dominance, that show that they're willing to die, then they all of a sudden just relax and let them do their thing. It's almost like I don't know, it's like a natural selection type thing where they're just looking for the strongest, fittest male she'll allow him to breed her. She doesn't want weak genes. Could be something along those lines. I don't know, but I've seen it in multiple females where they try to rip the male's head off right away, but they don't care. They go in there and they shake her around a little bit, then they'll kind of just give in and let them breed her.
Yeah, I think the females test the males, in all honesty, and
Yeah.
you know, sometimes I have males that need to get tested. Otherwise, they're just kind of hanging out. But the moment that she fronts a little bit and get a little worked up, they suddenly raise up. They're like sizing her up a little bit. So, you know, they all need something different. But same as you, man. I got these two males that when you put them in, they look, they grab, man, and they try locking. Like there's no dance, anything like that. Like these guys are on them so fast, the females just don't even know what happened to them.
Those are good males. Those are the males you want.
Those are the best. Yeah.
Then you have some that freak out and try to run out of the cage.
Yeah. So, you know, I don't do the high bins anymore for breeding with the Northerns. I do everything right in the cages now. Like just typically I'm introducing the males to the female cage or vice versa. Some pairs I got to alternate, but yeah, no, again, back in the day, I remember I'm trying to jump out of the bins and I'm like forcing them back in because, you know, it's time to breed. I'm in like a 4 to 5 inch high tub now, and nobody's trying to jump out because I'm actually catching their window. And you know, not to talk too much about somebody else, but you know, I've heard this season that you know, the window for some of these guys is quite extended from the start of the season to still getting receptive females. I want to say about 45 days in between. So a lot of these animals, again, could be cycling a month or 2 months afterwards. And, you know, again, that's that huge advantage you guys have down in Florida, keeping things together year round.
Mm-hmm. It's possible, yeah. No, I've never used the high bins to breed either. I've always bred my animals inside the tubs. I either put the male with the female usually, or some of the males that are a little bit more secretive, then I'll just add the female in there, just not to startle them. And I've always had success doing it that way. I know some people have a separate bin where they breed all their animals in, and I've never done it that way.
I stopped a long time ago, and honestly, one of the reasons I stopped is because it's the way Ray did it, and Ray was doing the best. There was no reason to do it any different.
Yeah.
I think it's just preference, but curious, Dave, on the one you mentioned that was like receptive 45 days, was it cooler where they lived?
Not so much. Well, what it was is when the colony turned on and the breeding started, like let's just say we started on January 8th. Again, like 45 days later, a new female came online, like one that wasn't ready when the season first started for the rest. So there's some scragglers, I guess you could say, that just weren't cycling with everybody, even though they were cooled in the same environment.
That's interesting. It has been I mean, I don't know if that was here in Florida, but this year the winter in Florida has been a little off from years past. It's been really cold, and it warms up in between the cold fronts. But it got really cold down here in 2 instances, like a few months apart. So maybe that had something to do with it if it was here in Florida.
It wasn't a Florida breeder. It was somebody like in the north, not the super north, but more of a northern breeder. But
you know,
oh, go ahead.
One thing I do with when I breed, you guys, I'm sure, have seen your females spit out excess sperm, right?
Yeah.
You got to make it into a sandwich. No, I'm joking. Keep going.
No, so as soon as the male breeds that he lets her go, I'll pick up the female and I'll handle her for like 2 or 3 minutes. And by doing that, it prevents her from excreting that excess sperm. I mean, I don't know if she does it later on, but it helps keep it inside of her a little longer. And I've done that for years, and it seems to have worked for me. But I don't know if you guys do the same or if you guys have heard of anybody else doing that. But it's something I've been doing for years.
So yes.
Creep everybody out and say your way, or should I say my way first?
You can go first, Dave.
All right, because yours is good. I like yours. And if you leave anything out, I'm going to tell them everything. So the girlfriend, like when they let go, she started picking them up by the tail to kind of hold them, to stop them from flexing and pushing anything out. And then she would pat them on the tummy a little bit and then set them back down. And for the most part, they were keeping everything in them.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you,
So,
Alex?
So yeah, we would hold them. Some females would eventually excrete it in their cage after, where others, it seemed like if you would stop them again, they wouldn't. But it's hard to watch the full time.
You didn't try to find a way to put a little back in?
We'll talk about that off air.
I've tried that.
Yeah.
I've tried that.
Were you successful with it?
I mean, no, I wasn't. Not with a female that was just bred. So, with going back to the hyper het, the het hypermelanistics that I had, one of the animals that I got back for the one that died is a supposed het albino het hypermelanistic animal, but his hemipenes don't work. They don't pop out. So he's actually a great breeder, but for some reason his hemipenes don't pop out. I don't know if they tried probing him when he was little or there's something else going on. But when he goes through with it, sperm comes out. So I tried using like a little dropper, a little pipette, and artificially inseminating one of my females. I tried last year again, and without any luck. But yeah, I tried.
Did you food cycle her too or anything?
Did I what?
Food cycle her?
Food cycle her?
Yeah, like maybe do any heavy feeding after, or?
I mean, everything I do with all my other females. Yeah, nothing different.
Yeah, because does that male have extra large hemipenes? It look like on the sides. Can you really tell that it's a male?
Oh yeah, you can tell he's a male.
Because the blotch we have is similar to that, where he'll go in his pants, so to speak. You know, where it like just oozes out, but his hemipene doesn't come out.
Doesn't pop out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the same. That's the same with this animal. I mean, I sent this animal to Manny with the other the het hyper, so maybe he has better luck with them outside, keeping them outdoors in the sun. We'll see.
One thing I saw, I think it was Don Patterson. He soaks his, and he was able to get some like old stored sperm, but I haven't been able to. And I don't want to try to pop it out either.
Yeah, if you put a little bit of pressure, I have seen old sperm plugs like that come out, like old dried up sperm plugs. But I don't think that's what this animal had, at least mine in particular. But
yeah, I wasn't able to get any out, but I guess I always worry, you know, I don't want to damage anything.
Yeah. And is that your only blotch?
The only male. The others are girls.
Oh, that sucks.
But we'll get it figured out eventually, or eventually get another from John.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether or not to talk about the present or talk about the past at this point. So okay, let's talk about the diamond pythons a little bit, and then we'll swing back into some skink stuff. So, where have you been picking them up from? Are you kind of like grabbing some from this guy, some from that guy? Have you only been able to source them from one guy? Like, how's that build going?
Yeah, so I got a pair of babies from Gary. From I forget the breeder's name. He was selling them for the breeder. It's like a small breeder. He produced some last year. They're really nice animals. I think they're zoo, and I'm still learning about the diamond pythons, but they're a Valley or Valle and San Diego Zoo line, if I'm not mistaken. And then I got a reduced pattern diamond from Terry Burke is his name, if I'm not mistaken. I got to go back and look, but Burke or Birdwell?
I don't know I know Gary. I don't know the whole community though involved.
Yeah, so this one's a gorgeous one. It's a female, and then I just picked up a male Gothenburg from MFA Reptiles. So they just apparently brought in some animals from Germany, if I'm not mistaken, and that's the baby that I just picked up. I traded some Stimson's pythons for that male. So I got 2 males and 2 females.
Very cool.
They're awesome, man. I love them. I wish I would have gotten into them years back when I first started with the skinks.
Yeah, to be further along. Yeah, I like. The problem is with, I always talk about morph stuff, but I've got some of the brittle stonewash stuff or head stonewash, and I thought
Yeah.
about maybe doing like a hypo head stonewash to do like a pairing that way, and then I saw the Darwin albino bred to the Brettles and what those albinos look like. I just don't know if I want to be the hybrid guy coming into that community not doing anything else.
Yeah, no, I have some Brettles here as well. I got a stonewash hypo as well, and I got a trio of those. I'm enjoying them. But yeah, I like animals how they are in the wild. I like the purity stuff. I'm more of a purist, to be honest with you. But that's why I like the diamond pythons, man. They're gorgeous. They're absolutely amazing, just how they are. So I like that a lot.
I get that. Going after some of this other Python stuff, I do like more just the wild type, of course, not just because that's our only option, but there's a lot of stuff I like the wild type, and especially the diamonds. I've always found the diamonds to be the most attractive out of all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they are making some crosses with that stuff that look absolutely incredible. I don't know. I'm sure you've seen them, Dave. But I mean, I just want to work with the pure stuff.
Yeah. If I was going diamonds, I'd want to keep it pure too.
Yeah.
I don't know who does them. I think it's like the Stardust line of those are beautiful.
Mm-hmm. I have a reduced pattern one, which is from what I've read, it's basically the same thing as a Stardust, and it's a gorgeous animal. It's still juvenile right now. It's a female, but it's really, really pretty.
So most species you even work with at this point, if you can't keep them in the yard, you're going to stay away from them?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I keep a lot of stuff inside. I got king rat snakes. I got the Crebos, Everglades rat snakes. I got some corns, and now with the pythons that I've gotten. But that's pretty much it for snake species, from what I recall. I mean, I have yellowtails. I have a blacktail. I have a Texas indigo. But yeah, no. I mean, one thing with me over the years is I've tried to keep things simple. And I love the skinks for that because they give live birth. I don't have to worry about incubating. A lot of the snakes I got into after, I didn't need incubators. I would incubate them at room temperature. So I just put them in like a shipping box, like a styrofoam insulated shipping box, in a deli cup inside, and I just put them in my closet. And I'd have excellent hatch rates doing it that way. But now with the pythons, I'm gonna have to invest in an incubator at some point. But I've over the years I've tried to keep things as simple as possible, and all the animals I would get would need like similar, temperatures and humidity and things like that. So
yeah, I like keeping things simple, and I always had the idea it'd be cool to have a collection that everything needed to be cooled down every year, so you could have like 3 months off. So, the idea of maybe going heavy colubrids is nice. I like the break from the colubrids every once in a while. I just started waking them back up today, but it's nice not having to clean shit every other day.
see the colubrids that I do have, they're tropical colubrids, so I don't have to cool them down. It's just like what I do with the skinks. So I have black milks too. I've bred black milks over the years. That's a really cool species. Even though my pair is a little older now, they haven't given me babies in the past few years. But that was a species I really enjoyed working with. In my opinion, black milks are way better than Mexican black kings. They're bigger, bolder, stronger. Mexican black kings stay a lot smaller. Black milk snakes is a poor man's indigo snake. They're awesome.
Yeah, always been one of my favorites. I loved them more when they were cheaper. They're just expensive enough now that I've stayed away from them.
Yeah, they went up in price a lot over the years. I remember getting my adult pair for like $100 or maybe 150 back in the days, but I don't even know what they're going for now because I haven't produced babies for like the past 2 years, maybe 300, 400.
I think it's probably $400. I think
Yep.
I've seen people put them on the table for $600 on females,
Wow.
especially if they keep them for a little while to where they start
Oh, wow.
turning. But kind of like if you hold on to palmettos a little longer so they get a few more spots, they sell a lot easier, and you get a little more.
I produced a bunch of palmettos last year, and I lost them all. I wasn't, see, I'm kind of a rookie when it comes to breeding corns, or I guess even snakes in general. I mean, I've been doing it for years, but I had so many baby corn snakes that I was keeping them all in a big, like, Tupperware, and I just fed them. And after I fed them, I put them together, and I had a couple of them try to eat each other. I don't know, they still had like the scent of the pinky on them, and they ended up passing away. So I was bummed about that last year. And I had a bunch of palmetto babies.
That's a bummer. Palmettos, right now, probably one of my favorite projects just because it's at that really nice, like, $250 mark, which is very affordable as a pet. It's probably one of the more attractive corn snakes at the moment, other than, there's some awesome projects, but that animal captures everyone's eye at the shows. And I think that's an animal that's going to be like $250 forever. Like leucisticus and pied ball pythons kind of like stayed pretty consistent over the years. That's where I see palmettos.
Yeah, they're really nice snakes. They're gorgeous. Yeah. That and the Okitis. I love the Okitis.
I like the Okiti, and we were talking about the red Zep stuff earlier today. I like the red Zeps. Again, I like the morphs, but the reverse Okiti stuff, I like the Miami phase, man. I think the Miami phase is beautiful.
That's awesome. You know that so another one of my hobbies is tropical fruit trees, and a lot of the mangoes on my trees get eaten by rats and squirrels. When I first moved into my house, I saw a baby corn snake outside, and I'd never seen one ever again. And I've been tempted to try to get some local corn snakes to breed and try to like restock my neighborhood with corn snakes. I don't know if I'll ever do it or not. I don't really want to bring attention to myself or have neighbors start seeing snakes and think it's coming from me or whatnot, but it's a shame. People see snakes and they kill them because they think they're bad, but we need more native snakes around,
No, 100%. We talk about that kind of stuff, like, getting together and just trying to like buy some acreage every year to like protect certain areas.
Yeah.
Florida's like all over the place. Protect some things, don't protect other things. You've already said way too much. You have made a list at this point, Ron, but I'm sure not that many people are going to watch this. Yeah, it's over, man.
I'm a responsible keeper, man. I'm trying to do it the responsible way. I would love to find like some like locally sourced native animals to breed to maybe like restock my neighborhood again,
Yeah. I don't know the rules down there, but I mean, collecting some wild caught females that are gravid and just hatching the eggs out and releasing them in your yard is not like a big no. And they typically have a lot of eggs. The Miamis have the biggest clutches out of all the corn snakes.
Yeah, they're nice. The Miamis are nice with the gray on them.
Yeah,
it really stands out. But yeah, no, I never do it with any of these captive bred animals, or that'd be messing with the genes, I'm sure, of the wild population.
You're probably right.
That would be irresponsible.
Yeah, I think I saw. I think corn snakes in it was like south of Tampa Bay, like about an hour south, about 45 minutes outside of Punta Gorda. I did some road cruising down there, and that was the only place I've ever seen a corn snake in the wild so far. Really?
No, I mean down here in Miami, if you go down south to like Homestead, you can see them. You can find them. Like I said, I'm in Kendall, and when I first moved in, I saw a baby. It was dead, but I saw a baby in my yard. So I'm sure they're around, but I'm sure a lot of these snakes get killed by all the neighbors, all the people that live around here. The only snakes you see right now, the native snakes that you see around in the neighborhood, are black racers. That you see pretty often. But corn snakes, I haven't seen one since the first day I moved in here.
That's because the black racers are too fast for your neighbor's shovels.
Could you design your property in a way to attract them?
Not really. I mean, I think there's like I said, there's I have a lot of fruit trees, so I get a lot of mice, rats, squirrels. So there's prey items for them. So I mean, I don't want to have those things around, but
Yep.
you know.
Well, you know what you should do? Bring the quality of your yard down and lay some rusty tin here and there and start flipping it. You might see a corn snake.
Maybe I may be surprised.
The old owner could have never cut the lawn. They were hiding in the high grass. They cut it right before he moved in, killed them off, and
It's
What we do get a lot of is iguanas and brown bacillus, curly-tailed lizards. They kind of taken all over Miami. But a few years back, the front door neighbor had an iguana laying eggs in his yard, and we pulled out like, I don't know, I forget already. It was probably like 32 or 42 eggs.
you made a post about that. It was like underneath the concrete almost in the front.
Yeah. That was years back, way before iguanas got, like banned or whatever by FWC.
Yeah. No idea why I remember things like that, but it's one of the few memories I still have of us.
That's cool, man.
was it the omelet picture that he sent you after that made you remember? Or?
I don't know how the brain works, buddy.
They have down here in South Florida now. You can book a guide that'll take you iguana hunting. So they'll get you. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen the YouTube videos, but they'll with these air rifles, you can go along the canal banks and kill iguanas. And then some of these guys on the YouTube videos, they make meals with them. People are eating them, and I've never tried it, but I wouldn't be opposed to trying it. But that's something that's become popular here in South Florida. It's hunting iguanas.
I think after your guys' last freeze off, there was a pizzeria down there that got in trouble for putting iguana on a pizza, if I saw right.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sure there's some health code violation with that. I don't know anything about it, but I'm sure there's something.
I mean, it may be a good idea to open up a restaurant where people serve invasive, they could do lionfish, they could do iguana, maybe python, I mean, there may be a market for that. You never know.
Yeah. I think the python one, even though I'm always seeing pictures of them found in the wild, might be hard to source a consistent amount of meat. Iguanas, it seems to be the way to go. I've seen iguana tacos. I'm sure you could do anything with iguana.
We even have peacocks down here, and they become a nuisance in a lot of areas.
Yeah. I thought you meant peacock bass for a second. I know you got those down the road too, but
no, like the bird, like the peacock. Yeah, like the birds. There's like a wild population in South Florida, and a lot of people hate them because they scratch up their cars, they shit all over the decks, and they become like a nuisance in a lot of areas.
Interesting.
I'm guessing you can't air rifle those though, right?
No, I think those are protected, but they're exotics. So I mean, I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, there's not a lot of people hunting in Florida. Like, I don't know many hunters that live in Florida that even talk about deer hunting.
Yeah, I think you got to go further north for that.
Yeah, thought so.
Because I know down here, like the Everglades, a lot of the area is protected. So there's not many areas where you can legally hunt here in like very, very South Florida. You got to go further north, more like to Central Florida and further north.
You know what I heard, and that they have in the South Florida, the Glades now, that occasionally people run into? Brazilian rainbow boas. And man, always been one of my favorite species. Crazy to hear they're actually, well, not crazy to hear they're doing down there. The conditions are kind of perfect for them, honestly.
Yeah, I heard the same. I've never seen one. That's one thing I want to do more. I'd like to do more is do a little more herping down here. I mean, I live in a great area to go herping, explore the Everglades, do more things. And I mean, I do a lot of fishing. I do a lot of outdoor stuff, but I've never done a lot of herping. That's something I want to get a little more into.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did hear about the Brazilian rainbow boas. I don't know how, the areas where they've seen them. I think one of them was down in Florida City, if I recall correctly. But yeah, I don't know much about it.
Yeah, it's crazy to even think like there was even enough in the wild at one point for a couple to even start finding each other, because I just wouldn't really think of that as being much of a catch and release kind of species, you know? Like, I don't know if it was a
Mhm.
big breakout one time, another hurricane story, but real random one to see out there doing well.
You know, bringing up the Brazilian rainbow boas made me think of the Dominican red mountain boas. Have you seen some of the red examples of those? How gorgeous they are!
Yeah, Dominicans are amazing. I want to, or no, I was going to say Crutchfield had to have those back in the day, or was that just the
No,
Jamaicans
he
maybe?
did. I
Okay.
believe he did, but I believe the ones he had weren't very red. There's some that aren't as red, but I've seen some examples of a couple guys breeding them that they're brick red. I mean, they look like the reddest northerns that we've ever produced, you know, but the entire animal's brick red like that. They look gorgeous.
So I feel like that's a genuine animal in the United States right now that if you are producing them, you probably have a waiting list, and there's really no reason to ever show them off to anybody.
I've tried getting some in the past and I wasn't able to get any. Yeah, that's how much in demand they are.
I, I'm gonna really want to start padding my resume in the next like decade and start doing a lot more species, and I think I'm gonna really like figure out where I want to go. But man, if I took on 50 new species over the next like 4 or 5 years, I'd be pretty happy. Even if it's just a couple pairs, man, there's just a lot of things I've wanted to work with.
I mean the most I have of any animal that I breed are the skinks. Everything else I just have one or two pairs. I've always been that way. I don't really breed for the money. I kind of just do it for the passion and the fun of it, you know. But yeah,
Yep.
I've one or two pairs, couple pairs is more than enough for me, you know.
Yeah, no, I'd like to make enough animals that I don't need a day job and I could eat occasionally. And then I'm pretty content.
So if you're gonna do 50 species, you're gonna do a zoo?
No, no, I'm just gonna be a piece of shit breeder. Just you'll see my shit on Morph Market. No, I just it's just always exciting just seeing something new hatch out, or just some new or live bird species. I don't know. I just never get bored of it. And when I see somebody make something really amazing, I never think to buy one. It's always been a pair or more. So just the way I've always been wired in the hobby.
Oh, and that is the hard
Alex, you
part with
working
it.
with any? Are you working with anything else, Alex, aside from the skinks?
We have a pair of Gidgies and a trio Berbers.
Okay, cool.
But
Nice. The
not
Berbers.
yeah, we got eggs once. I got them separated right now. They weren't always cooperating. I don't know if we're gonna try to do it again this year or keep them separate.
What do you feed them? Insects?
Primarily, and pretty much the same as the skinks, like their food too. It
Okay.
does seem like they, if they eat that too much, they can get fatty, or the amount. But it's good to make them work for it occasionally.
I hate insects, man. I got I got four baby Western velvet geckos. Uh Oidura fimbria. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about or if you guys seen them in pictures, but I have to feed them insects, and I love these geckos. They're amazing, but I just hate working with insects. It's something that I've been lucky to not have to do over the years with the skinks, and I'm back. I see myself like I was when I used to breed bearded dragons many moons ago, buying crickets by the thousands, you know, and it sucks.
That's
Now, what about like breeding dubia? Or well, never mind. You can't even have those in Florida.
Discoids. I have two colonies right now, and they seem to like crickets better. But hopefully, eventually, I could get them all on dubias, and that'll work. That'll be fun.
yeah.
Yeah, because anything that's solely crickets, we try to avoid.
Yeah.
Bugs are like the deal breaker for me about always. Even again, a lot of the things I do is stuff I really like to put into the pet market, and there's a lot of really cool leopard geckos being produced out there that I'd like to do, but I just don't want to deal with that or the boxer crickets. And I know you can do mealworms with them. It applies to mealworms too, man. I just don't want to deal with insects.
Yeah, same. I don't like dealing with them.
Yeah, I mean that really was the appeal for skinks back in the day. Just such an easy diet. Like you said at the start of the podcast, like out of anything with legs I've ever worked with in the hobby, the easiest and probably the most pleasant species I've had.
I agree. But I think a lot of new reptile enthusiasts don't know because we don't really get the word out, But hopefully, like we were talking about earlier, the bigger guys in the hobby can do that,
I mentioned Emily earlier with Snake Discovery. I know she works with them. I know she breeds them. She was somebody I was hoping was going to bring like a new passion into the hobby for them. Because we talked about it back then. Brian talking about him on snake bites really
Yeah.
made the species blow up. So it's going to need another figurehead similar to Brian to make it work.
Yeah, I agree. But
What if I wore a bikini? Would that help? No.
You got to get it in before it's hot, man. That trend's almost over. We ever figure out what state that was?
No? What's that?
Well, I'm sure we're all on the same page right now. I was asking if you remember what state that show was in.
No. Someone showed that to me, but yeah, I couldn't remember which one that was.
I'm guessing it wasn't Minnesota.
No. Too cold for that shit up here.
Well, the likely corporate is almost always Florida or Ohio. So we could just, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I could see it being a Florida thing.
Yeah, I could also see it being an Ohio thing. Yeah, I guess we've said too much. We could talk about something else.
Hey, David. Are your Bills going to win the Super Bowl anytime soon or what, man?
Well, here's the thing. I kind of hope no. I've just kind of come to the idea that maybe I'm from a town that's never going to win anything, and I kind of want to be like the Red Sox, man. Like I'm thinking like 100 plus years, and then we'll start talking about it. There was I think it was a psychic in like 2019. I saw a tweet from 2019 where this psychic kept on calling this guy and said that the Buffalo Sabres would win the championship in 2026 and the Bills would win in 2027. And the Sabres are on like a 25 win I think it's actually 28 wins, 5 losses, and like 3 ties since December 5th. So they're having like the best stretch the franchise has had. And we have the longest drought in professional sports for a playoff appearance. So like we're extremely due. But if we win the Stanley Cup this year with the Sabres, I guess the Bills are going to win
next year.
27.
You guys are due, man. I was rooting for you guys. It sucks, man. It's heartbreaking.
All the superstitions were lined up perfectly. The storylines were there, man. Going into a new stadium, could have raised the banner. Mark Levy is like 100 years old this year, man. Like the coach that takes us to 4 Super Bowls is 100 years old this year. What a storyline that would have been. You got Allen having his baby. You could have saw little baby pictures next to the trophy. Like lots of opportunities missed, man. I thought this was our year, but we just always find a way not to win.
I think the Bills would have put up a better fight than the Patriots did. That was pathetic.
And I said the same thing last year if we played the Eagles, but that can't just be our storyline every fucking year, man. Because that all it ever is. But, I do think we would have put up a better fight against both those teams. I think it would have made for 2 more interesting Super Bowls. I don't know, man. I was in a bar in like Arkansas watching that Denver game this year. And like, I'm getting into it probably a little too much. And then everybody got to watch me look sad for like 2 hours until I left the place. I really thought that Denver game was in the bag, man. But again, it just wasn't meant to be.
It sucks.
Yeah. Here's the thing. You guys suck a little worse, and you guys have had your tragic past. I'm not trying to be an asshole, but like, you guys losing Chucky to Tampa Bay and then having to play him in the Super Bowl that year and then losing him that year in the Super Bowl. Like, that's a storyline I have not experienced yet in football.
It started with a tuck rule. We got screwed then. We should have won the Super Bowl that year. And then the year after, we should have won it again. But our old coach beat us.
Yeah,
so
which was wild. Hey, man, Buffalo sports, too. We had that forward lateral in the Tennessee game. And the tragic thing about that Tennessee game is the fact that Doug Flutie got us there, and we didn't even let him play that game, man. I think it would have been a different game with Doug Flutie. Sorry.
You're in Minnesota? You're a Vikings fan, Alex?
No, not really. I'm not even originally from Minnesota, but I haven't watched sports since I was young. I used to like the Cowboys back when like Aikman was playing, but that's years ago.
Yeah, I mean,
you're beating the Bills.
I was born and raised in Miami, and I'm a Raider fan, but it's because when I was a little kid, I loved Bo Jackson. So I grew up. Bo Jackson was my favorite athlete, and I became a Raider fan when he played for the Raiders, and then I just became a Raider fan the rest of my life.
Yeah, so I think I've talked to you about it because I know we talked a little football, but like playing Little Loop as a kid, I really loved Kevin Green, and my mom bought me a bootleg Kerry Collins jersey for Carolina's first year. And long story short, between that jersey and Kevin Green, I kind of became like a Carolina Panthers fan through like my entire childhood. But then once I got to adulthood, I realized that the Bills really were my family's team. So it was kind of like I had to like go that way. But one more thing to make this a little bit of a depressing conversation. So my father passed away a few years ago. You know what the last game he ever watched was?
No.
The 13-second game.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so it's just the way it is to be a Buffalo fan, man. It's everything's always that wasn't supposed to be super depressing. I said that with a smile on my face, man. But like, it's just the way it is in Buffalo. Like, your last Bills game was always some tragic Bills game before you pass away.
That sucks. That's terrible.
No, it's all right. I didn't mean to bring the mood down. I said that kind of lively. I'm sorry, man. But man, I will say though, I don't even know how I like yet next year because it is way too early. I do think that Kansas City is kind of done for a couple years, which is going to be nice.
That's going to be really nice. I hate the Chiefs.
Yeah, and I don't really think there's going to be like some resurgence of New England. I think this was kind of like a fluke year. Again, I do think that soft schedule went a long way. We'll see what happens next year. I think there may be one game above 500 next year. You guys, though, like, your division kind of is right for the taking. Like, that really can go any way going forward.
It seems like it, yeah. I mean, we'll see. Hopefully the Chiefs don't bounce back, but hopefully they're done, like you said. I don't like the Chiefs. But we'll see. I mean, the Chargers look pretty good, and so do the Broncos. So we'll see. It's a hard division. It's not an easy division.
Yeah, that's another tough thing about life. Kansas City started winning the moment I got to Missouri, and every year I get to watch the Bills lose to Kansas City with my neighbor in the playoffs, and he's the happiest guy in the world. So, yeah, I got to the wrong place at the wrong time, man.
That sucks. No, but the Bills are due, man. I wouldn't be surprised if they pull it off next year. Maybe like
the last 5 seasons, man. We'll see.
Bills, Cowboys, or Bills, Lions, I think, next year in the Super Bowl.
I think the Cowboys have a long way to go. I think they're going to find a way not to get there again next year. I still think the Rams, man. I got, and even Seattle, even down a running back, I still think Seattle's scary next year.
Yeah, Seattle had a good team this year.
Yeah,
We'll see. I mean, we took their offensive coordinator, so maybe they lose something.
Yeah. No, as a Carolina Panthers fan, when Darnold was on the team, I was happy to see Darnold win.
I was happy for that guy too. You know, they like that's like a journeyman. You know, they kind of counted him out from multiple teams. You know, so it was nice to see him win.
No, I thought what he did with the Vikings the year beforehand, what was that, like a 14-3 year, should have been more than enough to bring the guy back on. I'm kind of happy they're failing the way they are right now for letting him go, but I don't know if he would have won a Super Bowl with the Vikings this year. Seattle might have been the only team he could have done that with for all we know. It was kind of the perfect fit.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what happens next year. But the Hurricanes should have won the national championship.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, man. Even though I'm happy the Raiders are going to get Mendoza now with the first pick, but
yeah. Hey, here's the thing. I love the playoff bracket in college football now, and Miami was the perfect example why they should have changed it 20 years ago. I think even the first year with Ohio, they were like ranked number 4. They won the championship the first year in the playoffs. Then when they extended the bracket to more teams, Ohio won it again that first year. And again, I didn't really have a dog in the fight. I like the Miami story, so I was kind of rooting for Miami.
To think they almost left them out, you know?
Well, I haven't heard anything out of Notre Dame since then, so maybe, it all worked out the way it was supposed to work out.
Yeah.
Alex, you can bring us back to reptiles whenever you want.
Oh, you're good. I didn't have any amazing questions offhand, so I couldn't I don't know.
No, okay. Well, I know we usually try to go for 2. I wouldn't say we have to cut it short, but you want to cut it short to the next one, bud?
We can. You guys planning to go to Tinley at all, or?
I've never been to Tinley.
Yeah, I started packing for it today, man. I got a couple tables this week, and we'll see how it goes.
Nice. Good luck.
No, it'll be fun. I'm really sad. I don't have any blue tongues. I was set up by Cheryl last show, and man, she did very well at blue tongues at that show.
I just did a local show here, the Reptilian Nation in West Palm.
Yeah.
It was like 3 weeks ago, maybe now. And I did really well with skinks as well. I lowered the prices a little bit. I wanted to move some animals, but I sold a lot of skinks to first-time reptile keepers, like new people coming into the hobby, which was nice.
That's a good thing, man. I'd like to hear that. No, Reptilian Nations are amazing. I've done Salt Lake City. I did his Colorado's. I've done his San Antonio, Texas show. He's got one in Oklahoma City now. I'll probably try to get to that next one, but he always gets a really big crowd in that West Palm show. I've heard every one of those has been amazing. I don't think he's had an off showdown yet.
Yeah, I had a really good show, and it sucks. I'm not going to make it to Daytona this year again. I mean, there's still maybe a chance that I can make it. I just got to figure out some stuff with work, but we'll see.
Tough, man, because it always feels like every year could be the last. I hate not to have you there that time.
Yeah.
Isn't there talk of it ending soon?
Not necessarily
or am I wrong?
ending, but there wouldn't be a new owner if the owner didn't move forward. So, once he stops doing a show, it's done. That venue won't have another reptile person in there.
That sucks.
Yeah. But hey, I love Daytona, man. I like it better when you're there.
I'll try to make it.
Cameo, just a cameo. Just make sure to message me. Sometimes I hide out at that show. I'd hate to miss you because I'm hiding.
All right. No, yeah, I'm gonna try to go. I just need to switch one day from work, but I gotta figure it out soon because I gotta let Wayne know so he can save me a table.
No, for sure.
So what do you do when you're hiding out there, Dave? You exploring, or are you doing?
You know what? I love putting my feet in the water. I like trying to catch little things. I absolutely love the reptile show, man, but there's just so much cool nature down in Florida. I try to do something more related to that. Yeah, I'm at the show. I just don't live at the show like I used to.
Well, that makes sense. Part of the day you could herp, and then when it's super hot out, go inside and go to the show.
Yeah, I do a little bit of both. That or a lot of times I'm behind Chad Halker's table, so you could find me there. Man, am I like really bringing the mood down here tonight, guys? Like Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Oh
Not
no!
everybody watches the show. Some people are just hearing me talk and then dead silence afterwards.
Do you think getting some new people would help? Like, as ball python people are getting out, try to get some of them.
I don't. When ball python people go out, they don't usually switch to things with legs. I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, I do think there's going to be growth just based on what Heather's doing, mutations, and the fact that there's a lot of good animals out there. I'm very happy that it's a good pet market still, and most of my animals go to the pet market. But I miss seeing new breeders coming in, excited to do some stuff. Because, like I said, the more people in the hobby breeding a species, the more things that are done that wouldn't be done because my breeding is very different than your guys' breeding. My eye, my colors, like I go a completely different route. So the hobby was at its best. We had all these new people coming in with new eyes and doing different breeding. We can get back there. I just think maybe we shouldn't end every podcast on a sad note like this.
Well, I don't think it's a sad note. What new things?
A little thirsty, a little desperate. Like, when will the market be back to what it was when 3 guys bought 100 animals a piece every year? That was the big difference those years, man.
Yeah, but we don't need a couple people to buy mass. Even just consistent growth will help tremendously. And
Yeah. Well, I said it before. I don't know if any of us have the face for it. No offense. Ron's got the best chance out of the 3 of us. I just don't do a lot with social media, and the other people in Skinks just aren't doing a lot either. Like I said, I think it's going to come down to Emily. We're all going to have to start sending Emily free animals that look really pretty so she can start talking about them.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I'll do it.
I'll do it also. I don't care.
the ones she has are from us, so she's still breeding, which helps. Just not a huge push like they are with hognose.
So, one thing about the skink market on a positive note, everybody I know that I still talk to in the community are all sold out right now. So, we talk about maybe things aren't where they used to be, where everything was gone in 2 or 3 months. The year cycle it takes to produce another one, everybody I know is waiting for new babies so they can start having more to sell. So I actually think we're doing pretty good right now. It might not feel like it, but I think it's getting a lot better.
I still have a few babies left, but I just don't post them. I don't list them. I don't know. I just haven't gotten around to doing it. Just like I have like probably like 13 baby Easterns that I gotta move at some point, but I just haven't listed any.
Do you keep them individually when you have those babies, or you keep them in a group together now?
No, so as soon as they're born, I'll keep them in small groups, like 3 or 4 animals, and then eventually when they get a little bigger, that they get going, then I put them in individual tubs. So yeah, right now they're all in individual enclosures. But as soon as they're born, I keep them in small groups, like 3, 4, even 5 animals. And they do well like that. When one of them goes to eat, it seems like it draws the other ones to want to go eat as well. And they do really well in small groups at first, just for like a few weeks. And then I'll put them in individual enclosures.
Yeah, they're all very interesting. baby chickens are that way. When you put new chicks in with other ones, they figure out when they watch what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Hog nose, we talked to Jeff. A lot of times Jeff would like keep the clutch together until they fully shed in the bin. And then he would offer a pinky in the bin when they're all still in there. And he said he would create almost a chain reaction where, they all just kind of seemed like they were ready to eat.
No, it's super interesting. Nice.
I've never really had issues with them eating though.
Well, with northerns, you don't have an issue at all, but easterns are born a little smaller, and they can take a little while getting going. At least from my experience.
Interesting.
Because I just kind of, I guess, stuck the plate in front of their face, and they just kind of figured it out.
Yeah,
So-
northerns will do great from the start. Easterns take a little longer to get going. It's funny enough, this year's babies, Easterns are super calm, laid back. They don't try to bite. They don't do, they're so relaxed and calm compared to baby northerns even. But this year, for some reason, the babies that I got were little pains in the asses, man. They were huffy and puffy. They would strike at me completely different than other years for some reason. I don't know why. It could be because they were born outside in the yard, and they were out there for a few days before I found them. So maybe living outside in the wild like that with the sun and out in nature kind of made them that way. I'm not really sure. That's the only thing I can think of, because it was totally different from other years in the past.
So I don't know if I'm crazy or not, but I feel like when I first started doing blue tongues, they would always gorge and just eat everything I gave them. And I feel like almost every year it's like their appetite is a little less. Like I just don't think they're eating as much as they used to like years ago. To me, I don't know what it is, but I feel like there's food
Are you
being left on the plate and it wasn't like that years ago.
are you saying the adults or the babies, David?
Adults. The babies are going to eat everything, but the adults, I'm just kind of doing a weekly meal. Sometimes they might get a little extra. Sometimes I'll change it up a little bit extra, but we're kind of like a weekly meal at this point. But like I said, they're just not gorging, I feel. And that's a good thing, maybe, but just not used to a bunch of food left on the plate, and my serving size has not changed.
That's interesting. But I do weekly feedings as well. And I think the reason I went to weekly feedings years back was because I was having a lot of leftover food as well. So it seems like once a week is more than enough. The animals maintain their weight. They still look healthy. They act healthy. So I think that's really all they need. But it's interesting you say that. I mean, I don't know if I've noticed. I guess it depends the time of year as well. What temperatures are you keeping yours at during the
Um,
year?
so typically the building, the low would be 75, other than them being in cooling. So usually around 75 for the cool end, and the hot end between 88 to 92, sometimes 94 after they bred.
Yeah.
But temps are about the same, nothing too crazy. Like I said, there's no real big variable, but like, I used to put a huge effort into the diet. I had like a million ingredients, and they just started getting more stubborn about eating it. When I had a lot of ingredients, I tried taking certain things out, figuring it out, and I've learned whether I do 50 ingredients or just a scoop of dog food one week that they seem to have about the same appetite.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, but I have been adding more liver to their diet. Post breeding, I like to feed them liver. I think that was an old Don Patterson thing. Um, but yeah, other than that, man, like I said, the appetite seems different.
Are you sure it's just not, they eat more when they're growing? And
Oh, well, it's definitely an eat more when they're growing for sure. But just again, working with the adults, I'm just used to what I would feed an adult, and they're eating like 2/3 of what they used to on average, I feel. And not like an animal I've had for 15 years is eating, just in general, the adult colony is just not packing it in like they used to food wise.
Interesting.
I was wondering if it was like maybe changing dog food sometimes. Sometimes I'll try different cans thinking they might need something. And I found that again, they just eat about the same amount.
certain brands would be more nutritionally dense.
So I've always been so spooked about changing cans. I've only done it one time before. Just an old paranoia thing in the hobby, I guess you could say. But the previous can I used was from a grocery store in Western New York called Wegmans, and they had a Wegmans brand dog food, and I adored that stuff. Like that was the best stuff I had ever used. And now I'm one of the Purina cans, one of the Purina Pluses. It's the yellow label with like the drawing of a chicken on it. And I've done very well with that Purina brand, never had any issues. Like I said, appetite just seems different.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if you gotta maybe switch it up every once in a while just to keep them interested, you know. But I mean, I feed mine a mix of dog food with a Missouri tortoise chow. Occasionally, I'll throw in like some dry cat kibble in there and mix it up. But I don't really do much from that, and they've been doing. I mean, I haven't noticed a difference in their appetite like you have.
I I used to do like I think I do either bananas or blueberries. Then I do like sweet potatoes. I would do sometimes squash. I was adding scrambled eggs. I was adding
Yeah.
liver a certain time of the year. Like, like I said, I used to do this really complex diet, and I have simplified it a little bit. Because, like I said, I was initially worried that one of those ingredients was the issue, because at that point it was very inconsistent. Some of them were eating everything, and some were hardly touching it. So until I found that middle ground where everybody was eating it consistently, at least about the same each, that's when I figured out where I was at was right.
I know years back, it's probably like 12 years ago, maybe now, there was a massive problem with some of the dog food some breeders were feeding, and they lost a ton of animals. You remember that, David? Or was that
Yeah, I
before?
remember that. I remember the store it was bought at. I had heard that recommended before, but that's when I was still living in Buffalo and I had that Wegmans brand. And like I said, it was what I had always used while I was breeding blue tongues. So yeah, like I said, really that story is what really spooks me from ever switching it up once you got something that works.
I think it was the time when a lot of people started getting there was like a bandwagon about grain free and people using like high quality dog food, and I think there was just a batch of something that was bad, and a lot of people lost animals. I never lost animals because back then I was using a pedigree, and I never had any issues using pedigree, which is like the cheapest shit you can find, but it's worked for me for years. I use pedigree and I use Purina, and I've never had issues with it.
So the grain free thing was kind of funny because when I first was doing blue tongues, I'd probably say for the first like 4 or 5 years, my stuff was not grain free. I know that for a fact. And then
Yeah.
that started going around the community a lot, and it kind of made me question what I was doing a little bit. I do think at one point I did switch to grain free, but the stuff I'm using now, I gotta check. I don't think it's grain free.
No, I've never used grain-free stuff. I've always used like regular stuff, and I never had an issue. I think, I think the people that were using grain-free eventually got out of it. I mean, I think that's not like a thing anymore, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. What have you guys heard?
I think a lot still use grain free.
Really?
Yeah, we do. We also try to do a lot of variety though too.
Now, when you say variety, you mean flavors with the same company, or are you doing a lot of different brands?
Multiple brands, different flavors, and then random add-ins.
Yeah.
What we add in might not always be as random.
Okay. Yeah. What Ron's talking about, I know you know what he's talking about. That was also so long ago. Not like forever ago, but I think that issue with food was had
Like
to be
10
about,
years ago, at least.
was it 10? It might have been 10, man. I was gonna say 6
10,
or
maybe
7.
even longer. I don't know. It was a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like I said, that was a tough one. And that also scared me off the idea of ever using anything that wasn't chicken or turkey. I've been all chicken and turkey. I think in the early days, I think I did do beef every once in a while, but yeah, I'm scared to chicken now.
I do chicken and turkey also. I don't do beef at all.
Yeah. Alex?
So I know previously years ago you told me, Dave, that it was beef that was bad, but I haven't had any issues.
Yeah.
But I'm also not doing straight beef either.
If I remember correctly, that food from back in the days was beef. And if from what I heard, I don't know how true this is, they were using euthanized animals like dogs and cats as part of the food. I don't know if you guys heard that, but I don't know if it was a rumor, it was true or not, but that's what I remember hearing back in the days. That's what was in what they found in that dog food. It was euthanized animals.
Okay. I did remember being told that it was the way they euthanized the animals could have had something to do with it. I don't remember the dogs and cats thing, but I don't. Yeah, like I said, I remember. I'm not saying you're wrong. You're probably right. Never had
I
anybody
mean,
tell me that.
I remember hearing it back in the days. I don't know if there was any truth to it or not. It's not something that that happened to me. It's just what I heard from people. So.
No, I mean, I did have a friend that had a fallout, and I do think he even contacted a lawyer at one point to see if there could be some kind of case there. But again, whenever that kind of stuff comes up, it never really went anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that one would be hard since it's not designed for them.
Have you guys ever tried feeding dry cat kibble?
No, I've heard mixed reviews, some negative more so.
I've used it on and off for years, for over 10 years. And if I ever go on vacation, I'll just leave a bowl with dry cat kibble with water, and they do fine for 2 weeks. I've been gone for 2 weeks without any issues. But yeah, I give it to them occasionally. Sometimes I'll even mix it in with the wet dog food. But just eating it dry, they seem to like it. Some of them like it more than others. You may want to try that, Dave, for your animals that are
a little picky, maybe put some in there always.
Yeah.
I did do. It's probably been about 5 years since I've had kibble in with them. But I used to do a little bowl of kibble. The only thing I didn't like is they knock a bunch of pieces out. The pieces would get buried in the bedding. Then they get a little moldy underneath the bedding. And it wasn't. I'm not going to say I wouldn't go back and try it again. I think I got really irritated by the moldy food every once in a while that I kind of got away from it.
Yeah, if you can get it in a deep enough dish where they can't knock it out, it's nice because it's cleaner than wet dog food. You can leave it in there for a longer amount of time, and it doesn't stink up the cage as much.
No,
but it's just something different.
Delivery system. But I did hear with some breeders that the skinks liked it so much they would gorge on it, and then you would get some really overweight animals.
It can happen. Has a lot higher fat content.
Yeah, that can happen. I can see that happening. But it's a nice option every once in a while.
So when you talk about the kibble, was that, like you said, just occasionally here and there? Or was that something you maybe did a little more at the end of the season or a little more at the beginning?
Occasionally here or there, I would do it, or sometimes when you're breeding your animals that they have no interest in feeding at all, sometimes I'll just put a bowl of it in there and leave it in there so they can eat it whenever they want, as opposed to putting wet dog food and they don't touch it and it goes bad in a day and it smells like crap. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So they can just have it at their leisure, You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I take it you went chicken with that?
Yeah, that I use Purina 1 and chicken or turkey. But the cat kibble is good because it's smaller pellets. They're not big. Another thing I fed juveniles that they love is the juvenile bearded dragon food. The pellets that come with the little dried mealworms, they love that stuff. The juveniles and the babies love that stuff.
At first, I thought you were saying juvenile bearded dragons.
Yeah.
So I'll mix that in there every once in a while. Sometimes I'll mix it in with the cat food or even with the dog food at first, and they like it.
Yeah, I remember the Australians used to use that all the time too. You'd always see that yellow, green, and red kibble at there. I
Yeah.
think I want to say Brian was using that too pretty heavily when he first started setting up skinks.
Missouri has a insectivore diet as well, where there are these little tiny pellets. I mix that in occasionally with the wet dog food as well. I mean I do a bunch of stuff. I don't do the same stuff always, but those are some of the things I do with my feedings.
And the label is insectivore.
Yeah, and Missouri insectivore diet.
All right.
That
Well,
might be the one John uses.
okay. I'll confirm because I've got a local supplier like 20 minutes from here in the middle of nowhere that he can order me any Missouri any time of the week. So and I get it really cheap. I think he's getting it right from the distributor here, but I'm gonna give that a shot because I had thought about maybe getting. Someone told me the gator food was good, was a good option. Add a little water, but I never messed with it.
I've never used the gator one, but the tortoise chow, yeah, and the insectivore I've used a lot, and it works well.
They might have an omnivore, or that could be the same.
I'm not sure, but the insectivore diet is about the same size of the pellets of that juvenile bearded dragon food, which is little tiny pellets. I usually mix it in with a wet dog food. I've noticed they don't like it as much dry like that, like as much as they do the juvenile bearded dragon food. So I mix it in with the wet dog food, and they eat it fine.
I'm glad you said that because I was just going to put a bowl of dry stuff in there. I thought that was going to be an alternate to using cat food.
No, I would stick to the cat food instead. They seem to like that more.
Do you think you can get them trained to go for the Missouri?
Probably, yeah. I mean, the babies will take it, but I've noticed the adults, the pellets are so small that it's harder for them to eat because they're so tiny. You know, especially the bigger ones.
Okay.
So the cat kibble's a little larger, so they can eat that better.
Interesting. You still adding? I mean, I imagine you're adding calcium, right?
Yeah, calcium D3, and then I have that other I forget the name. It's a multivitamin powder that I add in as well.
No other vitamins?
Just the multivitamin and the calcium D3. That's it.
I know, I think it was maybe Cheryl was talking. She was going to do Pangea mixed in with some of hers this year.
You remember the skink food? What's it called?
Rapashi?
Yeah, the
Louis
Rapashi.
buffet?
The Bluey buffet, yeah. So I got a bunch of samples years back, and I had some left over, and I've been feeding it to the roaches actually.
Good.
And the roaches love it. They fucking love it.
Yeah, I know people that keep the dust at the bottom of their Missouri rat food bags, and they'll put that with the roaches, and they tear it up.
Yeah.
You're not having to worry about breeding rodents down there, are you?
I don't breed rodents. No. Was that your question?
Yeah, that was it. I didn't know if you were forced to, if you had a resource, if everything's frozen thawed, I'm assuming.
Yeah, everything frozen thawed. I've thought about it, but no, it's not something I want to get into. I'd rather just buy them.
Yeah, I do it because because we have so many animals,
Yeah, sure.
and
Yeah.
man, those food bills back in the day filling those freezers were tough. Like I have not had to really buy. I think I've only had to buy like one order of rats in the last year, which feels really good.
A lot of the colubrids I have do well on chicks and quail, and they don't do as well on just a strictly rat or mice diet like the Crebos. So quail and baby chicks aren't as expensive as rats. I've noticed, so it's not too bad. They also eat chicken necks, chicken hearts. They pretty much eat anything you put in there. Stillborn baby skinks, anything they'll eat. So.
Nice to
What
have
about-
something like that in the shop as well.
Yeah.
What about quail for your skinks?
I haven't messed around with it actually. No, I mean I haven't tried giving it to any of the. I know some people feed it to some females, right? Especially pregnant females, but I haven't. That's not something I've done.
Yeah, I would do button quail. Like I said, the price is cheap typically if you can pick them up. I actually have some quail in the freezer. I might give that to them tomorrow.
You know, I think it's a good, healthy snack, and you know, good resource for females or males even.
Yeah. And look, I'm adding a little extra calf liver right now. Just kind of like cut it up into pieces on top of the meal. Some of the animals I'm finding are like picking that off and barely eating the dog food. If I ever have a female that's a little picky, sometimes I'll give her a little extra of that, and I find she'll usually eat it all.
You feed chicken hearts at all?
You know, I used to do chicken hearts and chicken gizzards pretty heavily. I haven't in a couple years. That was one of the ingredients I took out of my stuff when I was getting picky feeders.
Yeah.
I was a little worried that could be affecting it. And the calf liver is usually something that's more like post breeding. Once everyone has their babies, I might do a little bit, but then I usually get away from liver.
Because I know in years past I've had females that refuse to eat, pregnant females, and that's one of the things I would do they would never turn down is chicken hearts. I roll it around in some calcium D3 powder, and they would eat it right away.
Okay.
You know, right off tongs. You know, I just put it right in front of their face, and they'd eat it.
I think I want to say it was Adam Cheslow back in the day would do like a bunch of hopper mice in a bag. He would coat them with a little calcium. I don't know if you would add some wet dog food and kind of roll them in that too before offering it to the skinks. I can't remember, but he used to talk about that with his females doing hopper mice all the time. Not all the time, but when necessary.
Yeah, yeah, I've done that before, like fuzzies, not hoppers, but I've done fuzzies before.
Do you think it's needed or just an added benefit?
I just do it as an added benefit, or again, some females notoriously for years they don't want to eat anything while they're carrying babies, and I'm always worried, and I'm always trying to give them food. So you know that works sometimes. The chicken heart works. One year I even did shrimp, believe it or not, and they love the shrimp. They didn't refuse it at all. So that works too.
Cooked or raw?
Raw shrimp. Yeah. Yeah.
I've done carnivore care kind of on top of the dog food to make it more appetizing.
I like that. When Cheryl was on here, did she talk about using carnivore diet for babies?
I think it was the crested gecko diet with it.
Was it crested gecko? Okay. I've used carnivore with a couple different species. I like having it around. I always have a little bag.
Well, it's got good extra fat that I've had good luck with, especially some that the younger that get a little thinner.
Okay, now I'm done. That was a joke. We could keep going, Alex.
Oh no, we could wrap her up there. You know, it's over 2 hours.
I think it's good. I got an early start tomorrow. I know it's got to be about 10 o'clock where Ron's at right now.
Yeah.
It's not you, it's us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 10 o'clock. But I'm off tomorrow, so I can keep going.
Well, son of a bitch, you can keep going. I'm getting out of here, bud.
No, we'll call it that. You know, we get up early too, but I appreciate you coming on, Ron. You know, best place is Blue Tongue Lizards. If anyone wants to hit you up for a baby Eastern.
Thank you for having me on. I always enjoy hanging out with you guys and talking skinks and reptiles. So look forward to doing it again.
Appreciate you, man. Honestly.
Thanks, David.
Thank you guys again, and you guys have a great rest